So guys, just a quick introduction for all the viewers out there. I'm sitting here with Ryan Teuschl. Ryan was a member of the BRYC 99s who won the 2017 US Youth Soccer National Championship. Ryan, how are you and the family doing?
We're all doing well. It's kind of weird having everybody home again. It feels like high school all over again. You know, my brother, sister, and I all doing school together. But yeah, everyone's doing well and everyone's healthy, so not too bad. Can't complain.
Good man, that's the most important thing. I seen your sister's just committed to Penn. She's going there in the fall.
Yeah, she's super excited for that. I mean, obviously, stuff's still up in the air with how the fall season's going to go and things like that. But she's definitely looking forward to getting to Penn. Obviously, we're really proud of her. So
yeah, pass on my congratulations to her. That's awesome, mate.
Will do.
Yep. So Ryan, I recall you leaving for your freshman year at Navy, really early in the summer. I think it was summer 2018.
Yep, June 28th.
Yep, and I think it was maybe a few weeks later, all of a sudden, a picture, I think it was your mum posted on Facebook, a picture popped up of you with a big skinhead, a big bald head. Do you want to talk me through what goes on when you arrive on campus at Navy for your freshman year?
A lot of scary things happen. I mean, it's basic military training, so you kind of get broken down from the beginning to base level. So they can build you back up and with like a military mindset and basically teach you the skills you need to succeed as a future naval officer. So what that entails is a lot of getting yelled at, a lot of physical punishments and things like that, and doing a lot of stupid stuff. Like I think I made my bed probably 500 times and change clothes like over and over again probably 500 times in the I guess it was like 7 weeks, I guess.
Yeah.
So it gets a lot of, it's a lot of seemingly meaningless activities that actually, really make you focus on just the little details and make sure you're getting those right and in developing the character it takes to, lead sailors and Marines in the future, I guess.
Yeah. Now, do you think you had a slight advantage being an athlete and obviously being trained in that sort of environment most of your life where, that discipline had been instilled in you from a young age?
I mean, for sure. Obviously coaching's a little bit different, but if as a good player, you always want your coach to be like tough on you and pushing you to do, bigger, better things. And I think like that mindset translates to the Naval Academy as well, because you're not going to be perfect. The whole point of plebe summer is to make you fail over and over again and help you learn to overcome those failures and rely on the people around you. And like, I think that's very similar to, playing for BRYC, playing on a soccer team where, you got your coaches that are pushing you and you really have to rely on the people around you and come together as a team to be able to accomplish the mission. So it definitely, I'd say it helped a lot. I think I had an advantage for sure in that department.
Yeah. And I'd say certainly at BRYC, that is sort of our philosophy is built around that sort of mentality, making kids tough from a young age and instilling that for sure, I know that we talked to Marcus the other day just about the preparation for nationals and stuff like that, and some of the stuff you guys were doing, it was intense, and it made you guys, you could see it on the field, you were just tougher than your opponents.
Yeah, and I mean that mental toughness translates, really well to the Naval Academy. That's what a lot of it is. It's kind of, taking, instead of looking at the big picture and thinking like, oh, this, whatever task or challenge is gonna, what if it's like such a big challenge, you learn to like break it up into smaller like tasks, and you can get through it mentally a lot easier. And I think it's kind of similar when we were training for nationals, because I mean, every single day in practice, we were getting our, butts kicked. We were doing literally every drill had running. They're straight up running. I mean, as you guys, as the Welshes do very well. So, I mean, just to mentally get through that, you gotta be able to break it down into like the smaller parts and get through each thing and do it as best as you can. And that it translates, very well to the Naval Academy. So.
It's funny, Ryan, when I was watching you and coaching you play and like just watching you grow up as a player, I kind of always knew in the back of my mind that you were going to go that military route, just with your mentality and your physicality, and I'm just glad to see. I'm proud of you to see you doing so well there. And yeah, so it's awesome to see. Now with everything with the coronavirus going on right now, you did mention before this call started that you're still doing school. What does that consist of, and when's that finishing up?
So it's certainly different than being at the Naval Academy, because you just kind of have classes to worry about. But I mean, each class is different. Some I sit on like live Zoom or, Google Hangout, Google Meet calls, whatever. And then, some of them, they record lectures and they can see who watches it. So, I mean, your class is still going on as planned, still having to work as hard as ever, but it's just a little bit different.
Yeah, good man, good. Now talking of your season at Navy, the previous season, the last fall, you guys you were on a roll. You had your first 12 games were unbeaten. I mean, how did that feel, and what was the experience like picking up that much momentum?
I mean, it was very rewarding for sure, because the year before we had one senior coach was, I think, in his second or third year. And because of that, the team was still young, team was still coming together. We won like 4 games. And all those 4 were at the end of the season too. So, I mean, we lost a lot of games in a row. So to come back the next year, with basically the same exact team aside from, one guy, and be able to win 12 games in a row. And I think we got to like 19 in the country or something like that. It is a very, very rewarding experience. And I think it like speaks volumes about, just the leaders and the character, the people of good character we have at the Naval Academy. And I mean, obviously winning so much better than losing. So it was a very enjoyable season. And, we're definitely looking forward to getting after it this fall, because, just like last year, we're basically returning everybody again. So.
Yeah, no, that's really good when you can return players, especially if you're all in the same kind of class. It's a big advantage. I actually know Coach O'Donoghue.
Mm-hmm.
He was the assistant coach at UConn.
He always talks about that.
Oh, does he talk about trying to recruit me, or just
UConn? In general about UConn?
Yeah. So he actually he tried to recruit me, and I think it was him and Coach Reed up to UConn when I was transferring out of UMBC, and he picked me up from the airport in, I think it was in Boston, and we drove up to Storrs, Connecticut, and it was the middle of March. It was freezing, and he was a really good guy. And I'll never forget, it was a scary phone call. I committed to UC Santa Barbara, and I had to call him and say, look, like, things have just not worked out with UConn, but I really appreciate it. And he wasn't too happy, but I mean, just couldn't turn down the beach and the sun, especially with the cold weather up at UConn. But he's a great guy.
Oh yeah, he's definitely a very loyal coach, and he's definitely instilled in the team a very family-like approach. Like he's a family man himself, and he always has his like kids and wife around the team. So I mean, it's been a great experience playing for him and the coaching staff so far. So
yeah, awesome, mate. Now, Ryan, talk me through, obviously, things are a little different in military school. Your typical day is different to other student athletes. Must be very demanding. Can you talk me through a typical day in the life of Ryan Teuschl on campus in Annapolis, Maryland?
So, I mean, now that I'm not a plebe, it's a little bit, more lenient. I got more time to myself than I did as a plebe. But, I mean, so you're waking up at around 6 every day. And then you have formation not too long after that. And then as soon as so formation basically is when they get accountability for the entire company. And basically you show up and they see everybody's there. But in short, that's what it is.
Right.
So then after that, we have breakfast, and then we go into our classes. And our classes are very much like, how at least my high school was, in the sense that we have 4 classes before lunch and then 2 after lunch. So I'll have my morning classes. They start at like 7:55, and then I'll go all the way through, and then we'll have what's called, well, it depends. So when when we're in soccer season, that time is really used to eat, and then we get a lift in before our next 2 classes start. But out of season, we have the we don't lift as much during that time. So we have like the new meal formation that everybody sees. It's like a very public event,
Right.
with like marching and things like that. But so yeah, I mean, in season we're lifting, we're practicing during that time, we're eating, and then we go into our next 2 classes, and then as soon as the classes are over, it's a mandatory sports period for the entire brigade of midshipmen. So where for me that would be obviously soccer practice,
Right.
film, whatever it may be, and then for other people, for the people who don't do sports, they have like intramurals and things like that they have to do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so then after that, I mean, it can kind of range. Sometimes you have things like watch, which is kind of a interesting topic to explain, so I'm not going to try to do that right now. Or you have parades or briefs or whatever, extra military events you may have, and then after that, it's a mandatory study period for the whole brigade. So that's when you really get to do your homework and things like that for the next day. So it's a very regimented day, and you get good at. I mean, obviously the study period isn't super long, so you get good at like doing your homework during free periods and doing your homework when you can. But I mean, your day is pretty much laid out for you every single day.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with having that structure. It makes things a lot easier.
It does in a lot of senses, for sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes you wish it wasn't there, though. Sometimes you wish you could do what you wanted, but
Yeah. I agree. Now, obviously, we kind of just touched on it, but basically, with your soccer schedule, is there any extra physical training you have to do on top of your soccer training to be in the Navy, or do they kind of make adjustments because you are already a soccer player?
I'd say the biggest one is, I mean, everyone, like I said, everyone has the sports period, so the biggest physical part is through that. With that said, though, just in the military in general, and specifically in the Navy, we do something called a PRT, physical readiness test. And so that's basically once a semester, and it's a test to, they just changed it. So now it's push-ups, cadence push-ups, a plank, and then a 1.5 mile run. So everyone has to do that. You have to, train for that, make sure you can pass. Like that's a big part. I know a lot of people who fail that, and then their life isn't as fun.
Oh,
But
surely
so
that's a walk in the park for you, and being like a soccer player.
Yeah, being an athlete, I really don't have to do any like extra training for that.
Yeah.
So it's not bad. And then, I mean, when I was a plebe, like you'd have like extra morning workouts where you're waking up at like 5:30 and doing stuff like that.
Right.
And it could be anything from just running to doing animal PT, like bear crawls and stuff. That's not really that fun.
Yeah.
So it's things like that. And then, I mean, it's honestly not too bad. I'd say being a soccer player takes up most of the physical mission that you have at the Naval Academy. So
Nice. No, actually, I'm my fiance's father. He was in the Navy for over 20 years. He was on a sub for around 8 years. And I've kind of learned a lot about the Navy over the last couple of years since I've been with Chelsea. But I'm starting to think about, like what are you considering doing within the Navy? Obviously, there's different things. He was on a sub. What kind of branch are you looking to go down or into? Or
So as of now, I'm thinking of being a Navy pilot, but I mean, a lot can change. I still got 2 more years here, so
yeah.
I mean, we'll see what happens. But I'd like to fly either like fighter jets, or what basically it's P-8, which is basically what the plane Southwest flies for anti-sub warfare and things like that.
Awesome. So you're following in your dad's footsteps.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. Cool. How's your dad doing?
He's doing well. So he just left. He got activated to basically go coordinate with the state of Virginia for like what the state of Virginia needs from the Navy in order to fight the coronavirus. So he's been doing a lot with obviously the efforts that are going on right now. So he's definitely been busy.
Good. Now, so what else we got here? So what advice do you have for our current players, who are considering going into military school? for soccer. I know that we do have a few that are considering it, not just Navy. I think there's one or two that are Army, and then obviously we've just had one commit to DMI and stuff. So what would be your advice for those that are looking to go down that route?
I mean, the biggest thing is, you know, it's all about your work ethic. So you just have to continue to work hard in literally everything you do. I mean, obviously, if you're trying to go the soccer route, like soccer is a big part of that. Obviously, you gotta train, you gotta make sure your level is as high as it can be before you get there. But I mean, even from a school standpoint, like you just have to be on top of your stuff. You got to get it done, do well, because I mean, you know, it's not easy to get in some of these military academies and things like that when you're competing with kids from all over the country. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think you just got to work hard in everything you do. And you also have to show that, you know, you have the character and you have the leadership abilities to make it at one of the academies and to be a future officer. Because at the end of the day, the academies aren't going to look at, like, their end goal is to commission, you know, officers in whatever service the academy's for. So, you know, they're going to be really looking at like the character piece and the leadership piece. So you definitely want to, you know, show that you have the capabilities. You want to participate in things outside of soccer. You want to be a leader within your team and show that you're a resilient person and things like that. But yeah, I think this is probably the best piece of advice I have. And I mean, you just gotta, I mean, you're never going to know if it's really right for you. And a lot of times it might not seem like it's the most fun option. I can assure you that, but I mean, it's definitely rewarding.
Good, mate. That's some solid advice. And lastly, mate, what do you miss most about your time at BRYC? And do you still keep in touch with the lads?
I mean, it's probably basically the same question. I mean, I obviously miss playing with those guys. I would do anything to go back and just play one more game with them. And then same thing, being coached by you guys was one of the best experiences I've had in soccer for sure. So I'd say that's probably the biggest thing I miss. And in terms of keeping in touch with the guys, I mean, I'm in touch with them all the time, especially like Alex and Jared and guys like that. You know, we're always trying to get a good workout in and things like that when we're all in town. So, I mean, you definitely keep in touch.
Yeah. When things start opening back up, mate, we'll have to get out and get some pickup arranged or something like that. Get all the lads together.
That'd be great.
Yeah, well, hey, Ryan, it's been nice talking to you, mate. And I'm just proud of you. Keep continuing to work hard and good luck for your junior year.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right, mate. Take it easy.
You as well.